This is a lesson that I have prepared for my students at the college that I teach at. So please understand that there is no Romaji provided, and I also used some kanji in the lesson. We used the textbook GENKI Volume 1 at the college, and this lesson is from Lesson 8. If you are interested in purchasing the book, please go through the link that I have in the description. It will support this channel without costing you anything. Also, I can hardly answer your questions here on YouTube. If you need my support to learn Japanese, please consider joining my online courses. You can find a link to my courses in the description box below. We are going to learn short form in negative for Japanese verbs. This one is also called plain negative form or nai form. Plain forms are used in informal speech. When you speak to someone in informal speech, you need to use plain form instead of mass form. The plain form is also used to create other expressions such as I think that or she said or he said. So far, you have learned how to conjugate Japanese verbs in mass form. For instance, the verb eat, 食べます conjugates like this. 食べます、食べません、食べました、食べませんでした。So to conjugate mass form, you only need to change the ending of the verb. ます、ません、ました、ませんでした。Now we are going to learn how to conjugate Japanese verbs in short form or plain form. You already know the plain form of 食べます, which is the same as the dictionary form, 食べる. Now we are going to learn how to say the negative 食べません in plain form. That's what we are going to learn in this lesson, Lesson 8. Just so you know, for the past tense, ate and didn't eat, we are going to learn them in the next quarter in Japanese 123. Okay, let's begin. I'm going to explain this for each verb group. Ru verb, u verb, and an irregular verb. The first group is ru verb. This is the most simple one to conjugate. I'm going to list some samples here. See for yourself if you can figure out the formation rule. These are some example ru verbs with their negative forms. 食べる、食べない。寝る、寝ない。忘れる、忘れない。What's the formation rule here to convert plain forms into the negative? Right, you simply need to change the ending ru to nai. That's it. That's how you conjugate plain ru verbs into the negative form. So in the diagram earlier, now you know 食べません in plain form is 食べない。食べない。Can you say this in plain form then? The verb go out, 出かけます and the negative 出かけません。Right. In plain form, they are 出かける and 出かけない。Now we are done with ru verbs. Let's move on to the next group, u verb. How to conjugate plain u verbs is not as simple as ru verbs, okay? Again, I'm going to list some samples here. Do you see any patterns as to how to convert plain u verbs into the negative form? 行く、行かない。 話す、話さない。遊ぶ、遊ばない。立つ、立たない。What's the formation rule here? Did you figure that out? Okay, here's the answer. What you have to pay attention to is the ending letter in each plain form. Ku, su, bu, tsu. To convert them into the negative form, you first need to change the ending vowel u to a. So ku becomes ka, su becomes sa, bu becomes ba, and tsu becomes ta. And then add nai after that. So 行く becomes 行かない in the negative form. 話す becomes 話さない。遊ぶ becomes 遊ばない and 立つ becomes 立たない。This is one way to remember to conjugate plain u verbs into the negative form. Or you can also remember it this way. You go 2 rows up in the hiragana chart for the ending letter. So the letter su at the end of hanasu goes 2 rows up to the letter sa, and then you add nai. This is the plain negative form. If this hiragana chart method is easier for you to remember, you can use this one for conjugation, okay? So now you know how to conjugate a u verb like 飲みます in plain form, right? How do you say 飲みます and 飲みません in plain form? Right. 飲みます is 飲む、飲む and 飲みません is 飲まない、飲まない。Here you need to change the ending mu in 飲む into ma and add ない。So 飲む in the negative form is 飲まない、飲まない。Okay, I need to give you 2 crucial points that you need to keep in mind when you conjugate u verbs into the negative. Point number 1. Be careful with the u verb that ends in hiragana u, such as 歌う. If you apply the formation rule that we just learned, 歌う in plain negative is supposed to be 歌わない, right? But that's not the plain negative form of 歌う. Instead, this is how you conjugate 歌う into the negative. 歌わない、歌わない。Why? Because this u in 歌う came from the W group. わ、we, u, we, wo. And then not a, i, u, e, o. And then this applies to any verbs that end in hiragana u. Okay? When you encounter u verbs with u at the end, the negative form is going to have wa nai at the end, not a nai. So how do you conjugate these plain verbs into the negative? Right. かわない、買わない。あわない、合わない。つかわない、使わない。いわない、言わない。And 手伝わない。手伝わない。This is point number 1 that you need to keep in mind. Be careful with u verbs that end in ひらがなう. Okay? By the way, on the side note, you know that we no longer have the letters for we and we in modern Japanese, right? I even didn't learn them in school when I was a child. But we used to have letters for we and we. Up to my grandparents' generation, they did learn those hiragana letters in school. Let me show you what they look like, okay? Hiragana we looks like this, and hiragana we looks like this. But those pronunciations disappeared from modern Japanese, and therefore, the hiragana we and we are deleted from hiragana chart. We still have this letter, but we no longer pronounce this as wo. Now we simply say o for this letter. So here is what we have learned so far about u verb conjugation. And I need to tell you one more thing that you need to be careful with. Here comes point number 2. We have one exception in u verb conjugation to the negative, which is the verb aru, exist. This is あります in mass form. If you apply the conjugation rule, the negative form of this u verb, ある is supposed to be あらない, right? But this is not the right negative form of ある. This is ない So the verb exist, ある becomes ない in the negative form. This ない is the plain form equivalent of ありません, don't exist or doesn't exist. Okay, let's quickly cover one more group, the irregular verbs. We have only 2 irregular verbs in Japanese, する and 来る. The plain negative form for each one is something that you simply have to memorize, okay? する in plain negative is しない 来る in plain negative is 来ない Please especially be careful with 来ない It is a very common mistake for Japanese learners to remember this one as 来ない Somehow, many students think 来る in the negative form is 来ない It's not 来ない okay? It's 来ない Here's the summary of ない form. So now you know how to convert all the Japanese verbs in plain form into the negative. By the way, plain negative forms are often called ない forms because they all have ない at the end. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. As I said in the lesson, we use plain form in informal speech. So once you master the plain form conjugation, you gain the freedom to adjust your Japanese between formal speech and informal speech. If you liked my lesson and are interested in my online courses, you can check them on my website, smilenihongo.com/class. ではまた次のレッスンで会いましょう。